There it is. The Miami Dolphins finally get their offensive lineman, James Daniels. We've talked about him ad nauseum. He signs with the Miami Dolphins. I am fired up. Hopefully you are fired up. But the Dolphins also added another offensive lineman this evening that we'll be able to talk about as well. But make sure you are subscribed. This is why you subscribe. We talked about James Daniels a lot over the last 2 months because we always knew he was a really good fit in this Dolphin system, someone Miami was going to go after. He was in their price range, and he is a Dolphin. He will be slotted in to be a starting left guard or right guard for Miami. This is why you subscribe. All right, so the news was broke by, I believe, Adam Schefter. I can't even remember. But the money involved was also broken by Ian Rappaport. It's a 3-year, $24 million deal for James Daniels. I have talked about how I would expect him to get a shorter contract, so I'm a little bit stunned that it's a multi-year deal to this degree. I thought coming off of a torn Achilles that he wasn't going to get as big of a contract in terms of length, but I did expect his money on an annual average basis to be anywhere between $6 and $9 million, and it ultimately lands at $8 million per year. Now, there is not a, detailed breakdown of what he got in terms of financials, of how much guaranteed, how much is actually per year. Is it 24 total? Is it worth up to 24 mil? That has yet to be discussed, but right now, all I know is that I'm through the roof because we asked the Dolphins to address the interior offensive line. And I know some of us were bummed that Patrick McCarry didn't happen earlier today. Aaron Banks didn't happen earlier today. But my top 3 targets for the Dolphins on the offensive line in free agency was these 3 names: James Daniels, Will Fries, and Patrick McCarry. And actually in my prediction video, or a prediction that I made on social media, which by the way, I broke this on Twitter before making this video, that's why you follow me at Nic_Rohloff, I predicted that the Dolphins signed James Daniels. I just thought the fit was too good. This is an athletic run blocker. This is someone who, he's coming off of a torn Achilles, and we'll talk about his injury history and how he's progressing in his rehab in just a second. But before he suffered that torn Achilles, the 4 or 5 games he played for the Steelers in 2024, he had a 92 run blocking grade and the best run block grade in zone schemes in the entire NFL. That's how good he is. And we've talked a lot about how Mike McDaniel in this Dolphins offense is a zone run scheme. They run stretches, they run end arounds, halfback tosses more than anyone else in football. So it only makes sense to get an offensive lineman like Daniels that is able to get on the perimeter quickly, get to that second level, move people in the run game. And we've talked so much about needing to address the interior offensive line to help protect Tua Tagovailoa, but also just get back to that smash mouth run game. I don't think it's a surprise that the Dolphins offense in the last decade was at its best in 2023 when they had the top run game in football to go along with one of their past games. When Mostert ran for over 1,000, had 18 total touchdowns. That was because they had a good interior offensive line. And there's still a long way to go to rebuild that O-line completely, but James Daniels is a beautiful start. So I want to get your thoughts on it down in the comment section. Grade the signing of James Daniels, 3 years, $24 million, A, B, C, D, or F. Pin comment, get down in the comment section, and create the conversation. If I'm giving this grade, I'm giving it an A-. Listen, is it going to be a perfect A? No, it's not going to be a perfect A because he is coming off that torn Achilles. But I am very excited about how the Dolphins are starting to address the offensive line. Like I mentioned, Daniels is someone we targeted. We speculated as a good fit for Miami, and it just makes so much sense. Now, a lot of people will ask about the injury. Here's what I can say. Barry Jackson said, per source, the offer from the Dolphins came after they received medicals on his healing Achilles. He's expected to be ready for football activity in May or June. So obviously late June is when you start to get training camp into play. June is like OTAs, mini camp, and then July training camp into August where you have the preseason football. So as long as there is no setbacks, it is going to be fully good, ready to go for the July training camp and August preseason football, which is perfect by me. It's good by me. Barry also noted that contract the Dolphins offered to James Daniels was over an hour ago, and then I guess he mulled it over, was looking at what he wanted to do, and then ultimately took it. So that's good news for Miami. There's still some other guards out there. It'll be interesting to see what the Dolphins ultimately do in terms of addressing the guard from here on out. Are they going to sign another starting level guard and then use the draft to go defense? Or are they going to keep their options open and still leave a kind of a slot open for an offensive lineman with the 13th overall pick? Now, I would anticipate Miami going offensive line in some capacity early on in day 1 and day 2 in the first, second, and third rounds. We'll see. But James Daniels, the veteran offensive lineman who has just been someone we've talked about so much, comes to Miami on a relatively good deal, 3 years, 24 mil. Very, very pumped about that. Sorry if you hear growling in the background, by the way. That's my roommate's dog, Heart. She's trying to play with me. She's an 8-week-old puppy, but that's neither here nor there. All right, so there was another signing tonight by the Dolphins, surprisingly. Yeah, the two came in at the same exact time. An offensive lineman, Larry Borom. Hey, stop. No more barking, hopefully. Larry Borom, the offensive lineman. He is former, Chicago Bear offensive lineman. He's a versatile offensive lineman. He can play tackle, but has had guard experience. He has started 27 games in his career for the Chicago Bears, and I'm going to be honest. I know 2 offensive linemen signed at once. James Daniels is miles better than Larry Borom. I used to help with our Bears channel before I took over as the Dolphins host here at Chat Sports. I have watched more Larry Borom probably than most. Larry Borom is not a good football player. This could be like a Liam Eichenberg type replacement, if I'm going to be honest. I would not expect Larry Borom to be a starting level guard or offensive lineman for the Dolphins, but this is maybe a Kendall Lamb replacement as well. He can be a swing tackle. He can play inside if absolutely necessary. What have we always said? Chris Grier, in his offensive lineman, likes versatility. Larry Borom, even though he's not good, he is versatile. So this is a good depth piece for the Dolphins. No information on Larry Borom's contract as of yet, but either way, the big news of the night is James Daniels becoming a Miami Dolphin. He was one of the best fitting offensive linemen. He'll be slotted next to Aaron Brewer. Question is if he's going to be right guard or left guard, but I would expect strong play from Daniels, who was on pace to have a career year in 2024 before that torn Achilles, only playing 4 or 5 games, but he should be back. All right, we'll round out the show with this. We talked about the signings. Obviously, Miami has made 3 today. So after a slow-moving early portion, couple late-night signings, plus Zach Wilson earlier, Miami's making moves. Zach Wilson is the backup quarterback in Miami next year. Chris Grier gets to his backup, addresses the right guard spot and left guard spot, and then a depth piece on the offensive line as well with Larry Borom. The next domino to fall is safety. The 3 biggest needs for the Miami Dolphins this year, no debate. Interior offensive line, safety, defensive line, and then boundary corner. Boundary corner needs to be addressed. Safety needs to be addressed. Javon Holland, at the time of filming, still out there. Still guys like Julian Blackmon, Andre Sisco, Justin Reed, Justin Simmons, still out there. Would expect Miami to try to look at that safety position over the next 24 or 48 hours. If I had to predict the next signing for the Fins, I would probably have to lean safety. I mean, you just got to address that spot. There's also some good veteran corners out there that are interesting. Top dogs are off, but there's some good value out there. Maybe a Christian Fulton, a Stephon Gilmore, Asante Samuel Jr., some intriguing guys out there that could be fit for Miami. I wouldn't also be surprised if Chris Grier was waiting to see about Jair Alexander, if he gets released by the Green Bay Packers, which is kind of expected to do so at some point. Joey Bosa's still out there as well. Miami's been linked to him. Dre Greenlaw is signed with the Denver Broncos, so he's no longer an option for the Fins. At off-ball linebacker, too, I would expect Tyrell Dodson to re-sign. I'd also expect the Dolphins to try to re-sign Calais Campbell, as long as he is not retiring soon. So I hate to kind of just throw all these names and kind of hodgepodge it together. with you here, but that's kind of where things stand. It's James Daniels, big-time starting offensive lineman addition for Miami here in free agency, 3-year, $24 million deal, but then they got to go out and get more guys. They just have to get more guys. So we'll see what Grier does, but this is why you subscribe. Also, let me know what free agent you want the Dolphins to sign next, but either way, big signings, James Daniels, 3 years, 24 mil. Let's go. Fins. See you on the next video. Let's do it.